Salut à toutes et à tous et bienvenue dans Story Series saison 4, épisode 7.
I'm just the luckiest girl in New York.
Cette semaine, on perd la tête devant un thriller familial labyrinthique mené par une star de cinéma aussi sublime qu'inquiétante, la grande actrice oscarisée Nicole Kidman.
I miss France, I miss Paris, I miss Europe.
Oh, we miss you too!
Depuis son arrivée dans le monde des séries, Nicole Kidman semble ne plus pouvoir se passer du plaisir de développer ses personnages sur plusieurs heures et leur donner la profondeur qu'ils méritent.
The community is in shock tonight over the gruesome discovery of a fourth-grade mother found bludgeoned to death.
This story will explode. Murder is ugly business. I must warn you, whatever you've heard, it's worse than you think.
Avec The Undoing, l'actrice travaille avec la formidable réalisatrice danoise Susanne Bier qui, comme elle, se balade avec grâce entre séries et cinéma, notamment avec The Night Manager pour laquelle elle a reçu un Emmy. Ensemble, elles ont trouvé une connivence rare qui se ressent dans chaque plan de The Undoing où les femmes sont au centre et les hommes en périphérie, chacun cachant une multitude de secrets qui nous tiennent en haleine d'un bout à l'autre.
I had this idea of the perfect life. I got from you and Mom.
C'est évidemment à distance, mais non sans chaleur, que nous avons pu discuter avec ce beau duo d'artistes, chacune chez elle et nous à Paris.
That's how it goes.
Well, the thing is, I only read the first draft of the first episode when I signed on to do this, and then I kind of got very involved and kept talking to Nicole about what the series should be and how they should evolve. I work very intimately with actors always, and I'm very kind of engaged with them. I'm always a little bit in love with all of the characters.
Okay.
And I kind of use that energy, in working with the actors.
You know, I've been talking with Susanne Bier not long ago, and she said you had like some trio conversations with you and David E. Kelly and her. So I wanted to know what kind of conversations did you have and what did you bring on your own to the character? Is there anything particular you decided to bring to Grace?
I was just really interested in the way in which Grace keeps everything inside.
Yeah.
And how is Susanna going to explore that interior life? That's why she would shoot me really, really close. And it was like she was penetrating my brain. I haven't had that happen before, so that was really unusual.
It's very surprising when we see the career you've had to know that you are still discovering or doing things for the first time.
Yeah. No, I feel like I'm still learning. I'm still so curious and hopeful about what might be in my future in terms of acting. It's crazy that I still have the amount of passion for it that I had when I would, if not more, that I had in my early 20s, you know, and I don't know if that ever burns out. All I know is it's definitely not a career for me, it's a calling.
Yeah.
And that is a very different way of looking at something, you know, so even times when I've tried to move away from it, I haven't been able to. My husband says the same thing. He's a musician, so he says the same thing about music. It's like it has this hold on you from the minute you're born, and it's just like pulling you in.
Ellen, I'm sorry. Sorry. Are you okay? Because sometimes I just feel overwhelmed and lost. Like, do you ever feel that? If you ever want to talk for free, I apologize. I didn't mean it to sound like that. But if you do ever want to talk, you're so kind. Thank you.
But it's a show that is very much based on emotions. Every character has like emotional roller coaster all the time. And I know that you've shot crossboarding everything. How do you help your actors knowing what kind of emotions they're supposed to be in this scene at this moment when nobody remembers what happened before?
I mean, here's the thing. You have to have the overview of the whole thing. And you have to have that overview very distinct and clear in your mind. And then you need to be able to dwell into the minutiae detail of each little beat. And I think that kind of sort of in and out is very exciting and interesting. I kind of know what I want, and then I kind of push it a little bit, and then, you know, the actors come with amazing, surprising suggestions, and you just, you know, you get grateful for all the gift. Like both Nicole and Hugh and Donald, every take would be different, and radically different. And they would even, like, you know, sometimes be saying different words or do, you know, and that sort of thing, like, you kind of go, whoa, interesting. And then you kind of go, well, maybe in the scheme of bigger scene, we have to tweak that element because maybe that's revealing too much, or maybe that's too early to be this emotional, or maybe that's too late because this character already knows this. So it's kind of keeping the puzzle in check while being obsessed while each piece of the puzzle.
Do you manage to sleep for 90 days with all this in your mind? No. actually, I do sleep, but I don't sleep enough.
Oh.
Dad?
Franklin, such an honor and a privilege, sir.
You left out thrill.
Yes, I did.
Well, thank you for coming.
I'm not coming, I'm going.
Really? Now?
I've been on the silent auction. I have to win one of Henry Ford's original dipsticks. I would like to be long gone before that happens. Jonathan?
Franklin.
You're looking well.
I am? Very surprising. Thank you.
It's very rare that we see characters walking in New York. Usually they are in cabs or in the subway. What do you think that says about the character, that she's walking so much?
It says a lot about someone who needs space to be alone, who needs space to be thinking, who needs space to be kind of in her own world. You know, Nicole did different walks, like, depending on where she were emotionally, she would be walking different, or she would be walking, using her arms differently. It was kind of very, very interesting what what those walks, how different they all were. So I guess part of what drew me was a little bit New York. Working with Nicole and David, it was the character, the whole notion of a marriage unraveling.
Hi, Cleveland Legacy.
Could you put me through to Jonathan Frazier's room, please?
Can you spell that?
Frazier, F-R-A-S-E-R.
Yes. Transferring you now. Hello? Who is this?
Who are you?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, sorry.
The thing that I love about the character is that you're watching this marriage unravel, but you're also seeing a woman in her relationship with her son,
Yes.
her relationship with her father, and her relationship with her husband. She tries to keep her relationship together, not only because she still has enormous love for her husband, but because she wants to keep the life for her son intact. And then she has a father who very much enjoys having her back in his life, likes being able to control her, likes being able to have her almost be like the little girl that she was when she was living at home with him. And
Yeah.
so all of those things I think are really, really interesting. And I've never gotten to do all of those on screen at the same time.
Exactly how weak do you think I am?
I have checked, and within the 20 past years, only 2 women won an Emmy for directing a miniseries. 20 years, 2 women, which one is you. How do you see this situation?
I do see that there is still a heavy perspective in terms of what is being made on male stories. And by male stories, I don't mean that necessarily that the protagonist needs to be female. You know, male executives still has a shorthand with male directors, which they don't necessarily have with female directors. And maybe that needs to change. And also, I also still see that in a lot of incidents, I see those incredibly talented female executive who is not yet head of the studio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I still think that there is a point where there is a way of talking, where there is a way of communicating, where women are still somewhat unreasonably disadvantaged.
But women like you showed them wrong. I don't understand why it doesn't go quicker.
It is getting better, but I still feel that for young women starting out, I still feel that they have a heavier burden than their male colleagues.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense, and it's completely outrageous.
Well, for sure. Your honesty is very refreshing.
And it's gonna get me in trouble.
No, it's gonna get you where you are. So it's perfect. It's funny because just hearing you say that, I see your singularity. I imagine you on the set. It's very funny. I feel your strength or something like that.
You know, I've seen her at the school before, sitting across the street on one of those benches. After she drops her son off, she just sits there. With the baby? Well, now with the baby. Before, when she was pregnant, she wouldn't even be reading a book. I feel like telling her, you live in New York? It is crime not to be frantically busy. Who just sits around quietly? What an unfathomable state of being.
What did you enjoy in television? Because you've been doing it again and again, and thank you, because we love to see you, but what is it so special about TV?
It is just another facet of storytelling. I don't actually think of it in terms of what the screen is. I really think of it, the thing that's different with television is you do have the length. You're capable of having a much longer screen time. But, you know, I still love to make movies. But I think it's more just, you know, I'll do theater, I'll do television, I'll do film, as long as the story warrants it, as long as the people that I'm associating with are in pursuit of excellence. And that's exciting for me. And I can align myself with people, and I'm going to grow, and I'm going to experiment. No matter what the outcome, the process will be really, really fascinating and interesting. That's important to me.
Thank you so much. From Paris.
Story Série, c'est terminé. La semaine prochaine, on revient sur la série la plus hallucinante et déchirante de 2020, The Third Day, menée par un Jude Law au sommet.
Something happened here. Something violent. Is there someone frightening you here on the island?
Allez, à la semaine prochaine.